All right, well, we're here today speaking with Kendall Hailey. Kendall, when did you have your mini gastric bypass surgery?
It was in 2023. Uh,
23. So we're about a year out,
we're over a year out.
a little over a year out. And
It
what
was
made,
actually June. It was actually June 7th.
okay, June
Yeah.
7th, 2023. So we're a little more
Yes.
over a year out.
Yes.
Uh, what was your starting weight?
426 pounds.
And where are you today?
I'm about 220, 225.
All right. And how tall are you?
I'm about 5'10".
All right. So do you feel like you have a little bit more to go? I don't remember what we had decided upon for your goal weight. Do you remember?
Yeah. It was 220 is what you told me I should shoot for. So
All
so
right.
I'm right there at it.
Feel pretty good about it?
Feel absolutely great about it. I'll be honest with you. I was not expecting uh, to lose over 200 pounds in it 1 year. It blew my mind.
Yeah. It is kind of it's a mind-blowing experience for a lot of people, I have to tell
Uh,
you.
well, I was expecting maybe 100 pounds. I thought if I lost 100 pounds, I would be doing something, but 200 pounds was just, I couldn't believe it.
So let me ask you, I've got a series of questions I want to just run through. You can give a short answer, long answer, anything you want to expound upon.
Okay.
What was it that made you first consider bariatric surgery as an option?
Uh, when I had sit down with my primary care physician and we were talking over the options, and he had mentioned it to me, uh, Dr. Meyer there in Aurora, and that's when I really first, you know, considered it. We tried a lot of other things, the medicine and all that, but it just wasn't. Things weren't working.
Did you go the Ozempic route for a little while?
No, he'd put me on some that was back before the Ozempic
Craze, yeah. So
craze.
this was
Yeah.
just more the traditional
Yes.
phentermine and those sort of
Yes.
weight loss
Yes.
drugs.
Yes. Yeah.
What uh, what challenges did you experience? Just while making that decision, was there any back and forth in your own emotion or your own thought process, or did the doctor suggest it and you just like, okay, let's move forward?
No, there were some reservations. Uh, I wasn't, I'd heard a lot of horror stories, and maybe not a lot of horror. Well, with different procedures, and you know, I so I was, I'd seen people that I'd known personally that had uh, other kinds of surgeries that didn't work for them. I mean, they worked for a while, but within a year or two, they were back to where they were,
Right.
and so for me, yeah, there were some reservations at first, but then I got to talking to Dr. Meyer, and then I talked to Carla for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when things really, started, rolling. In my mind, I was wrapping my head around everything, and finally I decided, okay, I think this is it. After I'd done my
Right.
research, of course, and seen that the success rate that you'd had, and it made me feel a lot more comfortable then.
How did family and friends react, or did you share with them your decision that you were going to have weight loss surgery?
Yeah, most of them were supportive. Uh, they knew that I was at a point I had to do something, and whether or not it was that or the MGB or another procedure, they felt like it was a good decision for me
Right.
to make. So
Good. Well, I'll tell you what, it always helps to have support of family and friends. It makes a big difference. As a matter of fact, as you know, one of the things that we require is that you have a
yes,
support person that
yes,
accompanies you on this journey. If you're
yes,
married, it's a spouse. If you're not married, it's a family member or a best friend or a parent. And that's the
Yes.
reason is because it's always a lot easier to go through this when you don't feel like you're alone through the whole process, you know.
Right.
So think back on the day of surgery.
Yeah.
Um, what were the very first things you noticed, like coming out of surgery over the next, like that week, the first few days and week after surgery? Anything stand out that?
Oh yeah.
Tell me about it.
There was, the first thing that stood out was the fact that, you know, the surgery itself was not an issue for me. It was more the when you shoot the gas and stuff inside of you, that was kind of painful. But
Right.
it was a momentary thing. It, you know, within a couple days, you know, that part was that was over, you
Yeah.
know, but
Walk,
I
walk,
remember
walk.
walking, walk,
Yeah.
and so that's what I did. I mean, I literally was up all night walking the halls of the hospital. But it once we got the gas out of there, man, it was like it was flawless. I think this procedure was so it worked so well, first of all, but it was pretty painless for me. I didn't have a lot of pain. I didn't even I never took any um maybe Tylenol once. I mean, honestly, I didn't need it.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm a different cat when it comes to pain, but it really wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, you know, that's a common experience. I mean, most people don't need any sort of narcotic pain medicine after surgery. I mean, they do in the first 24 hours while you're in the hospital. But
In the
generally,
hospital,
by the time you're ready to be discharged the next day and over the next several days, most patients don't don't require much in the way of of pain. Were
right?
were there uh, were there any unexpected challenges in that recovery period?
No,
Difficulties?
I didn't have. I was I don't know, maybe I was, like I said, unusual case, but I didn't have any problems, doc. I really didn't.
Did you
I
feel deprived about not being able to eat a full meal there early on?
no, no. I
It's
that
it
honestly, that was the last thing on my mind. I mean, everything was the we'd already started the liquid diet, so that was not a big deal. Uh, yeah, it was pretty flawless for me, and I followed it to the T. I
when you
mean,
say it wasn't a big deal, was it or like the last thing on your mind? Are you referring to the fact that you just really weren't hungry? Because
yeah,
that's one of the effects of the surgery is
yes,
that it takes
yes,
away your hunger. And so here we are approaching Thanksgiving right now, and
right,
I don't know if you're going to dinner with a bunch of people when you first had the surgery, but
yes,
it's always fun. Uh, those people that have the surgery to hear their stories about how family members were so worried about them and felt so bad that they
yes,
weren't able to enjoy the big meal. And the patients I've spoken to, their attitude is, hey, enjoy yourself. I'm going to do fine here with just one little piece of turkey meat that I'm going to nibble on and give me a
yes.
little bit of, cranberry sauce and some dressing and take a bite of this and a bite of that and you're totally satisfied. Is that kind of
It,
your experience?
that was my experience. I mean, you're correct. Family members and friends were like, "We feel so bad," and I said, don't feel bad. I'm not hungry."
It's kind of a different feeling, isn't it?
It is. It really it was, and it still is. I mean, it just I I don't know how to really explain it. It's just one of those things, you know. It's a part of me now. I don't have any issues with it. Uh,
How would you say your relationship with food has changed before surgery versus after surgery?
oh, I mean, yeah, I just know I don't need as much of it for one. I mean, uh, but it doesn't bother me that someone else can eat more. You know, I'm just eating a little portion. It just
Yeah.
doesn't bother me. I don't have I don't have the cravings that I used to have. Uh, all that went away. I think I remember you referring to that at some point in one of your lectures about how, that that will go away. And for me, it sure did. I mean, I just absolutely, I it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
It
Did you
is.
have many comorbidities before surgery? Things like high blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea, any of those things?
I,
Cholesterol issues,
I
back
was, I,
pain, hip pain, etc.
I was borderline uh, diabetic, but my blood pressure was high. I did have all kinds of pain. My joints hurt all the time, but all that's gone. All that's gone now.
How long
I'm
did it
not
take
having.
for those pains to go away?
Uh, it was pretty. Now the blood pressure and all that almost was almost instantaneously. That kind of thing. It
Yeah,
didn't take long. I could tell a difference, just within a few days after surgery, and I don't know if it was. I mean, I don't know how to explain it. I really don't. But
yeah.
you'd know more
Well,
about it than I do.
yeah, those are pretty normal responses. Most people,
Yeah,
that chronic pain in your back, your knees, your hips, within a few days after surgery, most people say that pretty well disappears as well. Now, of
right.
course, if you do more physical activity, some of it kind of comes back, but it's because you're being a lot more physically active than you used to be, and
Right.
it's typically not nearly as unrelenting as it was before surgery. If I had to
Yeah,
kind of explain it.
right.
Would you say relationships have changed at all as far as with family, friends, that sort of thing?
Uh, I'm a lot more outgoing than I was. At 426, I was depressed. I was pretty down. I didn't want to go out, do anything. Um, I, just kind of was. I'd come home from work and I'd be stuck to a recliner. And now I absolutely have more energy, and I'm constantly on the go. Uh, I love to go to take my kids. I bought all the kids Silver Dollar City season passes, and we go a lot because we're not that far from Branson. So yeah, I ride the roller coasters now. I can do that kind of thing. And at 426, you could not fit into a roller coaster seat. There's no
Right,
way.
right.
And now I can do that kind of thing. I bought a motorcycle. I ride now, a street bike. And there's just things that I had always wanted to do that I never did uh, because of my weight. And
Right.
now I can do them. So,
That's great. That is, I tell you, I never get tired of hearing these stories. I really don't. Part of why I'm doing these interviews is just, I think part of it's for my own personal satisfaction because I just enjoy hearing the stories.
yeah.
Okay, a couple of serious questions. What do you wish you had known before starting kind of the whole journey? Is there something that was like a big surprise or a big man? I wish I'd have known this before I started all of this.
I just wish I'd known sooner. I'll just be honest with you. I wished I'd known that this works the way it works, and I would have had it done a lot sooner. That
Do you
that
have
is on.
Do you have any advice, or what would you say to someone who's nervous about considering the MGB? Any words of
I,
wisdom?
I would say if you are in a situation like I was, where you had, you know, your health was at stake, I would not hesitate to look into having the MGB because it's a life-changing experience. It really is. It's a miracle. It really is. I consider it a miracle from God. I know you performed the surgery, Doc. I gotta give God all the credit for everything, but uh,
As do I, Kendall. I,
amen.
I thank him for the gift he gave me to be able to share this with people like you. You know.
There you go. And I'm thankful to you too. I mean, you and the staff were absolutely just marvelous. And the stay at the hospital was I can't even explain it. It was they were so good, and
That is a
everyone.
nice little hospital, isn't it?
It really is. I've been in a few. I haven't been in too many, but I've been in a few, and that's the nicest hospital I think I've ever been in. It really is a nice place,
Yeah, it's
and
like you don't
it
even
is.
feel like you're in a hospital, kind of,
No,
as
it
far as
doesn't. It
yeah.
really doesn't. But yeah,
All right. Well, I mean, do you have any kind of final message you want to share with anyone that might be struggling with their weight right now?
if you're struggling with it, I would say get in there and call Carla, get a hold of Carla, talk to her, and I just do it, man. Just do it. I'm just. I mean, I'm sold, man. I'm sold on the MGB, and I'm not. I'm not turning back. I've just absolutely. I'm just not. Everything. My whole life has changed because of this procedure, and it's all for the good.
Yeah,
And I would suggest it to anybody that was in the same situation that I was, that had obese, obese was obese and was battling obesity.
sure.
Absolutely, the MGB, man, that's the way to go. That's my opinion, but I'm telling you, I've lived it, and I know.
Oh man. Well, it's music to my ears, Kendall. I really
Uh,
appreciate it. I appreciate you spending the time with me this evening, just doing this
uh,
little interview.